Good evening and assalamu alaikum to all the listeners and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Muhammad Aqil Sadiqi and tonight I am with Danish Muhammad Amin. And the reason we are gathered here, we want to talk about the elements of public speaking and to discuss a couple of tips regarding debates and some characters that which kind of debates are more suitable in our discussions. So let's have a introduction from you, Danish.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, Akil, for having me on your YouTube channel. I'm really glad and excited to be part of this YouTube channel and to inculcate all the knowledge to your fellow listeners. And whatever we are discussing today about communication, public speaking, motivational speaking, and leadership skills, we're going to discuss in a wholesome manner so that the listeners can take all the benefits from it.
Thank you. Before I proceed, do you have any experience in debate?
Yeah, so Akil, a very good question. Well, to be honest, I'm not a fan of a debating club, but yes, I have an experience in public speaking, in communication. I have led multiple conferences, international conferences in different universities and platforms. Apart from it, I'm also part of one of the wonderful clubs, which is an international club named as Toastmasters International. Been there, done that, did everything with you as well.
Debate?
Since you
You have
were
done debate.
not really debate, but yes, public speaking and communication skills.
Okay, we will come to it in a while about Toastmasters and the benefits of Toastmasters. But before that, let's talk about the discussions and tips and tricks. Of course, we both are distinguished and we both have finished the path. So, in your journey, what hurdles you have faced and how you overcome it?
I think this is a very great question. And whenever we think about this question, when we discuss about the hurdles and discuss about different hurdles that we'll have to face and that overcome, then the first hurdle that we always come around is the fear of communication. Generally, it is a fear that takes you back. And if you conquer that fear, you'll start speaking publicly. You start noticing that your confidence is building up and you are in front of the crowd speaking informally and formally and helping others gain the trust. So, the first hurdle is the fear.
Yes, the fear and
The second hurdle is the constant communication of the public speaking skill. So, the second most hurdle is the consistency. So, you need to develop a consistent environment in order to succeed in communication, in order to succeed in public speaking. So, consistency is very much important. It's not really a hurdle, but if you practice it, the more you practice this consistency, the more you can gain your confidence.
okay, let's go back for a while. Do you remember the first time you started speaking in front of public? And how was your experience? So, and from that time till now you are distinguished. What journey you have faced? What are your experiences you want to share that? So first, let's start with that moment. The first time you went in front of the stage and looking at the audience. How did you feel?
Well, I was really nervous. And to be honest, there were a lot of people in the room and I need to speak publicly. I remember that time when I was in university first year and I was having my presentation in an engineering lab. And there are a lot of people sitting there and I have to present on some sort of a concrete that I've made a presentation so far. And that was so much nervous that I was sweating and the teacher was telling me that you're not that much
Yeah, I
confident.
remember that actually.
Yeah. Yet that much you are not that much confident, but still at that point in time I realized that how much important is communication, how much important is to speak in front of people. And after that, with other fellow colleagues, I've developed and I've made my mind that I need to develop that skill. So this is one of the most important things that I think can have a very good impact on your life.
Of course, any person who wants to speak, they look it up, or online, or they search it, and they usually find some kind of role models. So how can you describe your role model? Yeah, did you have any role model in case of speaking or in case of motivational speaking or any type of speaking? Either it's debate, either it's just public speaking. Can you mention a couple of few names and explain why they were your role model?
Okay, so as far as role models are concerned, so there are role models that are close to me, and there are role models that are global role models. So let's say, for example, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a motivational speaker, and he is very much into the world of speaking. He is not only a motivational speaker but a public speaker, a certified coach, and he also help. He is also in different platforms and different certifications such as neuro linguistic programming and stuffs like that. So at that point in time, he was my ideal role model as far as the global role model is concerned. As far as people who are near to me, I have a very strong influence of my friends, obviously, because they are very much fluent in public speaking. So I try my level best to at least develop the knowledge, the skill set, and the level that my friends have. So yes, these are my role models as far as my public speaking journey is concerned.
When you search Tony Robbins' name on the Google, on that a couple of other names pops up, like Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, and even some new faces like Jordan Peterson. Although he's not new in the business, but he's kind of a debate type till motivation type. It's just a transition type. And also, like you can, if you search Jordan Peterson, you can find Ben Shapiro, Mehdi Hassan, or some other names. So in this kind of stuff, it's quite a big industry, don't you think? And the Tony Robbins attribute or character developed in such a competitive industry and made himself a renowned name. So what can we learn from Tony Robbins or these kind of names so that we can also be one of those renowned names?
So first of all, we need to understand this particular thing, that Tony Robbins belongs to a very different industry as compared to Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson or Mehdi Hassan, because these are the intellectuals that I consider so far. Tony Robbins is not an intellectual, but he's a coach, he's a public speaker, he's a motivational speaker. So this is a very different, a dynamic industry that is going on in a very different area. And the Ben Shapiro and the people, these are the people who are debaters, who are intellectuals. So they have a very different sort of experience on that. So as far as Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, and Mehdi Hassan people are concerned, I personally believe that they have a very good amount of knowledge that they try to implicit on people, and going through different debates and discussions, they try their level best to have a very concrete understanding of the world, economy, social well-being, and different sort of politics that is going all across the globe.
Okay, let's shift the topic regarding the characters into the content. The names you mentioned, like Jordan Peterson, was also famous debater as well. He also debates either with anchors or with other characters, and they usually discuss the role of women or the role of human rights. Sometimes they address the issues in the society, and they usually have their own controversial opinion. So what's your opinion regarding this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I personally feel that there is a very strong biasness towards these topics. And since there are the hot topics and everyone is debating all across the globe, you see there are a lot of movements that is going across the globe. There is a movement of feminism that is going around. There is a movement of LGBT community that is going around. People are discussing about that.
You're against them or with them?
Yeah, so definitely it's a very good question. I personally believe that there are a lot of things that needs to be evolved by time, and there are a lot of things that needs to be done by time. And since there are a lot of movements that is going on across the globe, so these intellectuals are debating on different platforms that whether this is right or whether this is wrong. Generally, if you talk about Jordan Peterson always go by his own morals. So there is something that is right, and there is something that is wrong. Culturally, you can say that this is right and this is wrong, but morally it can be different. It can contrast. Same goes with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a leftist, you know that, right? And since he is a leftist, he cannot say anything right. So that is why he is a left. So what do you think about that?
What do you mean by left and right? I mean, Ben Shapiro also somehow, I like his style of debates, but it's kind of too cheeky or cheesy because he just wants to speak fast. That's his own main goal. And to be honest, I kind of support him because this kind of thing that I really call it a personal style. You have to develop your own personal style, and Ben Shapiro found his personal style. That's to speak fast, but also he researched his topic and has some facts. And if you ask him a question fast, he's gonna answer you fast with those facts. And
What
he
about?
has a sentence. He said that facts doesn't care about your feelings. If you remember that.
Yeah. So what about Jordan Peterson? What are your thoughts? What
Jordan
about
Peterson
his
is kind of a
personality?
calm guy. He's kind of opposite to Ben Shapiro. He's very calm. And he has very long pauses, sometimes for some controversial questions. He takes his time, he thinks that 3 to 4 times, and after that he responds. And his words are carefully selected. He always said that I usually carefully select my words. Because when you throw out the word, on that time you're going to get it back. So that's an attribute that I saw from Jordan Peterson. On the other hand, a couple of other names such as Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan is by profession is a journalist and he always interviews and debates with so many characters, especially the political characters. And almost all the time, we can say it's safe to say 90% of the time, he always succeeds. That's the reason you may want to research Mehdi Hasan, because he's a guy that found a way in order to discuss a topic that politicians always want to run away, and somehow he managed to get the topic back to the line and then attacks it. It reminds me of my own personal style I usually have. And you want to say something?
Yeah, so it reminds me of a very one good example where there is a black cat in the room and you have just developed a cage and you want that black cat to be in that cage. And Mehdi Hasan does that with his own political people that joins in his show. He wants to cage all the cats within them. So yeah, that can actually contrast with this Mehdi Hasan's debating style.
I actually agree with Mehdi Hasan more than Jordan Peterson, and I agree with Jordan Peterson more than Shapiro, because this is a kind of a thing that this is, somehow some people.
So you are a fan of Mehdi Hasan. You mean to say that?
Somehow, I mean, this guy is good. There's a couple of other names like Milo. He has a very long name. I don't know what is it, but he's kind of a Jewish guy. And he's also part of the LGBTQ community. That's why I don't usually follow him. But he's also active in kind of a feminist type. He always debates the feminists and this kind of things. And he's quite good. I mean, he's quite young, but he's very good at it. Milo, I think Yellow Populis, something like that. He has a Greek name. And okay, so this kind of time, this is quite a big.
What is
role.
his origin?
He's in British.
He's a British.
He's a
okay,
British
okay.
guy, but he's also part of a LGBT.
Did he had any debating sessions with Mehdi Hasan?
Not with Mehdi Hasan, but I think he had some with Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
Regarding, but not debate, usually discussion. When these kind of giants meet with each other, they don't debate each other. They usually have a discussion. They know that if you're gonna debate, there is a chance that one of them gonna lose. So they don't want to, ruin their own reputation just by challenging someone else. It's just like the old Western era that one person is the guy, is the best, the best challenger, best, what can I say, gunman. And then the other gunmen, if they want to prove themselves, that's why they challenge that person.
So Akhil, there is one question that I really want you to ask is who do you think is on the top of the pyramid in debating? As far as your knowledge and your understanding is
Except
concerned.
me or alongside me?
Except you.
Except me. Of course, if you include me, I consider myself, because I never lost a debate. Never. I don't recall ever.
And apart from you?
Apart from me, that's a very good question. I think if you want to consider a debate or consider a person who can win a debate, he hasn't done a debate like Tony Robbins or Les Brown. They haven't involved in any debate. But if you imagine that one day Tony Robbins is gonna face, for example, Les Brown in a debate, who's gonna win? That's the kind of question that you want to ask yourself, being in the public speaking business. I think if I go with experience, Les Brown has edge. But if you go with some kind of skills, Tony Robbins actually developed his skills. First of all, he's a very sounded NLP expert. And later on, he develops his own neuro thing that was called Neuro
Linguistic
Association Programming.
Neuro association programming. So
Yes.
this is a new word thrown into the arena of public speaking.
Yeah, and Tony Robbins says that the Neuro Association Program or NAC is more effective than NLP. Actually,
So-
comes from NLP,
Yeah,
and
so-
he developed it into his own style.
So Akhil, I want you to go one step back, and can you define our audience that what is the difference between neuro linguistic programming and neuro association programming?
Well, I don't know that much either. However, Neuro Linguistic Programming (NLP) was founded by John Grinder and Richard Bandler. If you research your history, and it has a couple of aspects. One of them hypnotism, the other one is anchoring, the third one I think there are a couple of more portions as well. And basically, neuro, it means that it's all about brain, that how you can use your brain. Neuro linguistic program, and some languages are also involved within that program.
I remember one of the speeches of Tony Robbins where he was discussing about how to overcome depression, and all the audience.
Was it TED Talk?
It was it was a TED Talk. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, there was one session of Tony Robbins, and he was discussing about the depression and anxiety, and he was constantly doing this. What is this?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a trick that in the hypnotism, I actually searched about hypnotism. I found a couple of big names. In hypnotism, and before I talk about hypnotism, let me talk about the reasons of hypnosis. There are two ways that you can hypnotize a person. Number one is the fatigue of nervous system, and the second one is the overuse or the overuse of nervous system.
Don't you think both are the same thing, fatigue and the
Yeah.
overuse?
It's all about conditioning. For example, whenever I say something great about it, and I just snap my finger, something like that, and that time, the next time I snap it, something good comes in your mind, because the last time I anchored the snapping with good things. That's the technique. And the next time, without even saying, I just use this snapping. On that time, you get that okay, something good gonna happen. Another example, usually when I evaluate somebody, I say that okay, divide the stage. For example, if you want to talk about good things, you can go to the left side, right side. You're gonna talk about the dark things, go to the left side. A shining example is Dhananjaya Hitarachi, a 2014 world champion of public speaking. In his speech, he divided stage into three segments. He starts at the middle and goes to the right when he was narrating something good, when something good happens to him, and goes to the left when something not so pleasing happens to him. And you can see that whenever he goes to the right, the audience automatically knows that he's going to talk about something pleasant. And that's the technique that he used in his speech. And that's the way to do it. So anchoring is very effective in NLP. So that's the thing that you said about Tony Robbins, that snapping the finger, and he knows when to snap the finger. And I think sometimes I use it in my club or some other places, and usually it depends on the audience. It's better that audience doesn't get it. It's kind of a anchor type or kind of Easter eggs. Sometimes they get it a long time after that. But sometimes it demotivates others. For example, when I deliver a speech and nobody gets it, on that time it means that you're in the wrong room. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get you. But so
There's
there
one
are two
sentence saying
questions.
that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there are two questions, Akhil, that I'm throwing at you. So the first question is if you are you are working on the hypnotism, and if you are anchoring your audience, so don't you think it's basically a dark side of emotional intelligence that you're playing on your audience? The first things first. The second thing is, the more you anchor, the more your audience will feel good about it. So let's say, for example, you're talking about depression like Tony Robbins, and you want to take your audience out from the depression at that point in time, at that session. So you just snap your finger, or you just anchor them so that they get out from the depression, and after your session they go on their depression journey.
Well,
so what do you think about it?
I think not necessarily the snapping thing. For example, I can do so many other things. For example, one time, first of all, let me answer the first question. If is it ethical, something like that?
Yes,
Is it ethical
yes.
to that? Of course it is, because it's brain capacity. Everybody has a brain and he has some capacity, and if somebody uses it, it doesn't, and the other doesn't. So that's not my fault. You have to search for it. You're gonna live how much? Like how many years? 80 years, 90 years, or maybe 100. And in this 100, you haven't discovered your own full capacity. So that's your fault. That's why I said that just discover it and then use it. If you can use it in the best way, just don't bring out people from depression, not to push them towards depression or any other stuff. And your second question is, do I snap or anything? Sometimes I dress according to my mood. Like one day I know that this meeting gonna suck. That's why I usually dress in such a way that's gonna be some easy. And when I do some harsh evaluation or so, I say something controversial, the next time, that would maybe a couple of weeks later, I wear that dress to intimidate them, and they don't know what happened. They're just intimidated. Now I'm not here to dictate someone with anything, but that's just a trick. You can do it. I haven't seen anything. I haven't said anything. Just I changed my shirt, and you can do it. Of course, it works. It always works. You can do it.
So I believe, Akil, so whenever you are at your club and you are wearing a red shirt, and again after
I don't have
4
a
to
red
5,
shirt. I don't have a red shirt. The last time I did a harsh evaluation was a blue shirt. In fact, blue
Okay.
in fact calms people, but
So
it scared them.
So this is what it is. So whenever you wear a blue shirt, people think that there will be a harsh evaluation coming from Toastmaster Akil.
But now actually I wore so many shirts that every time I wear something, they know that something gonna come up. So that's one of the techniques.
That's nice. That's nice.
Okay, let's move on to the next segment. We talked about a couple of things. First of all, the styles, your journey, and a couple of big names in the business. And then let's talk about the future of this business. What do you think? How this business gonna evolve? The business we're talking about is the business of public speaking, of course, and debates, or anything regarding public speaking. So how do you think? Like, are you a public speaker? Have you ever considered that pursuing this business, and or even added it to your own business? You're a supply chain manager, some kind of thing. So of course you may want to talk with so many people regarding the supply chain and these kind of things. How much effort do you make? How much effort do you put inside your public speaking techniques? Or how let me put it this way. How many skills you adopt in order to have a great first impression on your clients?
Okay, so Akil, a lot of question is being thrown. So the first is the future of this industry, which is public speaking and communication industry. What I can learn from this and how I can implement this being a supply chain manager, right? These are the questions, right? Okay, so that's good. So the first question is the future of this industry. So let me talk about the future of Pakistan's motivational industry, or Pakistan's training industry.
You can mention some names as well. If you
Yeah,
want.
I can mention the names as well. There are a lot of names you have heard about different training gurus such as Umair Jaliawala, Sohail Zindani, Farhad Karam Ali. There are also corporate gurus as well. They are working. Sahib Karim Khan as well.
Yes.
So they actually work on corporate industries, and they also work on the youth industry. So there are basically two industries where these trainers work. So let me talk about what would be the future of Pakistan. So as you can see that we are here in the COVID-19 situation, we are in a lockdown situation, and people are not earning really well. Specifically, training industry is not doing very well. But I personally feel that since we are moving towards the digitalization phase, and in the next 10 years, this particular industry will be digitally very sound. So let me elaborate on that part. So there are different platforms such as Udemy, Coursera. They'll be getting all their courses on Udemy and Coursera, and they'll be asking different audiences to pay them in order to learn from their courses of public speaking, communication, leadership. Apart from it, they'll have corporate virtual programs as well. So I was reading an article on a digital platform where there would be infusion of two major technologies. The first is the augmented reality, and the second is the virtual reality. Since augmented and virtual reality will be the future of the work. So these corporate trainers will be on the augmented reality. They'll be working with our digital twins in a corporate industry. So let's say, for example, I'm coming from a company such as Unilever. So if Unilever wants to have a training from a training guru such as Umair Jaliawala, so his digital twin will be there on the digital platform in order to train the digital twins of Unilever employees. So this will be the future of corporate industry and public speaking industry. So yes, and apart from it, globally we are also working on different platforms. We are also getting different startups on public speaking. I was reading an article that there was a person named I didn't remember that name, but in US he started a public speaking app, and he was very much inspired by
What's
the
the name of the
Toastman.
app?
The name of the app I cannot remember. I can text you back after this call. But he started a public speaking app, and he was actually inspired by the Toastmasters platform. So I
So he
mean,
was a Toastmaster.
yeah, he was a backhand Toastmasters, and he was so much inspired by the Toastmasters that he started his own app. He's also a computer engineer, so he made his own app, and now he's Forbes 30 under 30 list. So yes, these are the people that are working to actually take public speaking and communication industry forward. So this would be the future as far as my thinking is concerned. The second question is, Akil, that you have asked is how I am implementing all the learnings of public speaking and communication in everyday life. So as you have mentioned that I'm a supply chain manager, yes, I'm part of this industry. I'm on this role. So I try my level best to have a very fruitful and sound communication whenever speaking is concerned. So as you said that as Jordan Peterson thinks twice before speaking and before throwing his words, I think twice within my mind before speaking and throwing my words, because whatever I'm throwing in front of public.
How do you do that? For example, the time is short and you want to answer something quickly. You have to be witty. On that time, you have to think on your feet. That's an impromptu technique, by the way.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you think twice? In impromptu, you can think once, but how do you think twice?
So for impromptu, so generally, if we talk about my everyday meetings, so in everyday meetings, whenever there is a client discussion and client communication going on across different stakeholders, so there is not a practice of getting an impromptu word in front of them. So there is always a double thinking and double check before talking to your client. So if you talk about the impromptu thinking, then I always try my level best to include humor within it. So let's say, for example, if I want to quickly close a session or quickly grab the attention of the audience, so I just have to add a little bit of humor, a little bit of spice in order to get the message across and just close the message.
Well, humor is kind of a risky thing, don't you think? I mean, for example, if your client is a serious guy and is not a fan of humor, and you just want to add humor for the sake of it, on that for example, suppose I'm your client and I'm a serious guy, and you add humor towards this work, then of course I'm not gonna feel well. I'll say that, okay, that's not nice. Business is business, humor is humor. If you want to add humor, go and become a stand-up comedian. You're not good for supply chain, this kind of thing. Have you ever faced this kind of criticism?
Well, I can debate on the opposite of what you're saying. So let's say, for example, in order to develop a human connection with your client, I personally believe that humor is so much important in order to develop a human connection. So I'm not here joking with my client, or I'm not here to put a sarcastic comment in front of my client. I'll try my level best to have a very sound discussion with them and add a little bit of humor in order to get the attention of the client. Other than this, there is one of my mentors. You may heard the name of that mentor as well, Dr. Mazhar Jamil, the Dr. late Mazhar Jamil. He always says that if you want to speak,
He used to say that.
Yeah, he used to say that if you want to speak the truth, add a little bit of humor to it, because truth is always bitter.
You talk about your mentor. We'll talk about it later. But before that, you mentioned a couple of names like Omer Jaliawala and a couple of other familiar names. So can you share your experience regarding your interaction with these kind of names, especially Omer Jaliawala? I believe you had some session with him. So are they really useful, or just they are a scam? Are they scammers or they're really a great guy, a guru? We can say that.
Well, so there are, so as I mentioned you, so in Pakistan's training industry, there are basically two avenues where you can train. The first is the youth, and the second is the corporate side. So Umair Jaliawala has two companies, one for the youth and one for the corporate side. For the youth, he has a school of leadership, and for the corporate side, there's a company named as Torque that he work within, and he try his level best to have training with their training clients. So yeah, so with that, I personally believe that he has skills, he has techniques, he's for really long time working in the communication and training industry, and I personally believe he's a very authentic sort of a person as far as the trainings are concerned.
It's very authentic. Some people say that, including myself, that these kind of trainers, these kind of Pakistani trainers or Desi trainers, they usually copy the content of other trainers such as Tony Robbins, as you mentioned, or Les Brown, and this kind of thing. They just translate it and they domesticize it according to our culture, and they share it with the people. And of course, you may want to feel better for a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks, but after that, you're again the same person. So what do you think? Are they, again, I repeat the same question in this regard, are they scammers?
Well, I personally believe if they are quoting someone, then if they are providing
They're
the
not
reference,
quoting anybody. They just say that, okay, this kind of thing. They never quote anybody. They just mention that, okay, you have to believe it, you conceive, believe, achieve, this kind of stuff, and they put it inside our mind. And they said that, okay, that's I feel upgraded. So what do you think? If you don't mention a name and you just say this kind of stuffs, which are translated by...
Well, I personally feel if you're mentioning someone's name, then it is authentic, and if you're not mentioning someone name, then definitely it's not appropriate, because it's the violation of the...
you are the trainer.
rights.
If you're mentioning someone else's name, so what should we listen to you? We can listen to that person's name. Tony Robbins has a training session. Of course, he has a son. His son also has a training session. Or this kind of, generation-wise, people are having this kind of profession. So if I want to, for example, listen, quote somebody, so why should I listen to you? I can go over there and
definitely
get the source.
Definitely for sure. So generally what we can see in Pakistan's industry is training industry is people don't know much about these gurus of US, the gurus of UK that we are mentioning, such as Tony Robbins and others, right? So generally, if a guy who's a Desi, and Desi comes in and tells about Tony Robbins, and he quotes about Tony Robbins, then he don't think about the person that is listening. He's not thinking about the Tony Robbins. He's thinking about the person, the Desi, that is training him. So he consider him his mentor, not Tony Robbins. So yes, you need to get your facts straight, first of all. And the second is, if you're mentioning the reference, then you are doing very good thing. But if you're not mentioning, then it's a violation of the content.
Copyright, you want to say that?
Yeah, violation of the content.
Okay, one more thing regarding this kind of stuffs. We talk about the many names. Of course, these names, such as Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, or this kind of stuff, sometimes they debate as well. They have published the books as well. Have you read a couple of these books, or what's your opinion? Are these books are legit? Because some of them are bestsellers. So maybe it means that the market for these kind of books is quite full. So what do you say about these books?
Well, I personally believe these books are doing really good for the human beings of this generation. The reason is because if they are getting bestsellers, that means that there is a void in the industry, that these topics are not being discussed. So let's say, for example, there is a book of Tony Robbins such as Awake the Giant Within. So in that particular book, Tony Robbins is just giving motivational speech and nothing else. So let's say, for example, in the US market, people don't have motivation. So if they are buying these books and they're continuously buying these books, making these books a bestseller, that this means that they need motivation. And Tony Robbins is giving them the motivation through his book. So I personally believe that these books are authentic. Same goes with the leadership book, such as there is a book by Robin Sharma that leadership without titles. So anyone wants to be a leader, everyone wants to be a leader, but they think that they can be a leader when they have the title, but without title you can be a leader. So I personally feel that if that book is becoming a bestseller, then this book can sell a lot.
So
with this
basically,
idea.
there are the drug dealers among the book lovers community.
Yeah.
Because as you said, people need motivation and they provide motivation. And they
Definitely.
create it such a way that you want to read it again and again, or you want to buy it again and again, their stuff, either the books or the videos, so that you can just keep yourself calm. Don't you think this kind of the drug dealers also do the same?
They keep definitely.
yourself calm.
You're really right, and you're really giving an authentic example of a drug dealer. So let me elaborate on that part as well. So there is a red pill and there is a blue pill.
Matrix, huh?
Matrix, yeah. So whether you want to take a red pill or blue pill, but you need to take one pill. So this is life. So let's say, for example, there is
no third pill.
There is no third pill. So let's say if you can bring your own third pill, such as yellow pill or white pill or green pill, but there is always a pill that you need to take. So same goes with these books and same goes with this industry. So whether you want to make Tony Robbins your mentor or his books your mentor, or you make Robin Sharma your mentor or his books your mentor,
Okay,
you need to take one.
Elaborate the pills. There are red pill and blue pill. So what is red? What is blue?
Okay, so I'm just giving a example in this particular case. So here, as we are discussing about that, we need to subconsciously take anything from the people. So there are a lot of people that is giving a pill. So such as Tony Robbins is giving a motivational pill, or Robin Sharma is giving something. So that this is just an example to contrast with the idea that we were discussing previously.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just shift it towards reading the books, the habitual of the book, the habit of reading books. Do you read books?
Yes, definitely. I read
How many books a day?
So not how many books a day, but you can say that
it's kind of a Tai Lopez thing, I read 3 books a day, or 3 books a minute.
Even I don't know how he can get his time to read 3 books per day. I mean, I'm so much inspired.
That's why he developed his 67 steps of getting the success. So this kind of people who generally they call them being a scammer, and they said that I read 5 books a day and I'm very successful. Even he showed a video from his garage that he has a Lamborghini, and then on the garage he's installed some bookshelves, and he has put some 2,000 books. Now, considering the average reading speed of people, I don't think anybody can even get to 10,000
let me give you a humoristic example on this. So I have a garage of weights. So I have a garage of different machines and weights. So do you think I'm a bodybuilder?
Well, at least you're trying.
So yeah, you can say that.
I mean, you buy weights so that you can train.
Yeah, definitely.
So you buy books so that you can read them.
Definitely.
So what's the use of it will be useless. What's the use of books if you cannot read them? You just want to show them. Of course, there's another chapter of these books. Sometimes books gives you energy. People say that. Okay. There was I forgot his name. He was an Italian, I think it was Italian author. I forgot his name actually. He said that he had 30,000 books in his library. Some people said, did you read all of them? He said no, but the books gives me a feeling that nothing else gives me. And sometimes some readers, they don't necessarily read all the books. They just read a couple of chapters, and on that you can cover all 30,000 books. But let's talk about your own habits of reading. So talk about your habits of reading.
Okay, so I have developed, so as far as the 2020 year is concerned, I have developed this habit that I'll read at least 10 to 15 pages per day. Mm-hmm. So so when I started the year, it was initially that I'll read approximately 50 books a day. 50 books a year.
50 books a day.
50 books a year.
Uh-huh.
But then I've made a little changes on my vision, and I try my level best to have like 10 pages per day, so that I can have as much information as possible. Other than this, I read articles. I'm a tech enthusiast. I try my level best to keep myself updated about technology and about different stuff happening across the globe. I also follow some influencers as well. So this is the everyday learning as far as my routine is concerned.
So, what type of books do you read?
So yeah, I read I have a very mix of books. So I read about socioeconomic books. I read about history. I read about politics. I read about technology. So these days I'm reading about a book named as Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. You have heard about his
Yes, I heard
different
his name. Yes.
yeah. So these are the books that I usually read. There is a book that I would read after this book, and the book name is the Confessions of Economic Hitmen, and how the world drastically changes because of socioeconomic changes going across the globe. What is the influence of the World War? Happened previously, both World War One and World War Two. So I am really much inspired by these books in order to gain my knowledge and can have a very fluid discussions with my friends and family across.
Okay, let's talk about the topic of the topic of books. I think books are quite important. However, if I ask you, if you have two choices, either you can travel or you read a book. Assume that you have access to all the books and you have no financial issue regarding traveling. You have the visa, you have the passport, you have the guide, you have everything. So which type of learning experience, learning path you would select? The traveling one or the books one?
Well, it's a very fascinating question. So I've read, I cannot say that I've read a lot of books, but I've read books so much. So
I mean,
I
which one
want
do you
to.
prefer?
I'll prefer from now onwards. I'll prefer to travel more because I haven't traveled much as compared to others. So I prefer
any
to
experience
travel.
outside
No,
Pakistan? So that
no,
would be so. Okay,
zero
let's put
experience.
it that way. You're choosing traveling since you haven't traveled. Suppose you have already traveled and you have already read so many books. Okay, let's put it this way. You have done all the books regarding your own topic, regarding your own field of expertise, and you have traveled to those areas to learn things. If you come back and if I ask you, I'm a rookie, I want to start learning either by books or traveling, which method you will refer?
Books.
Books.
The reason is because through books, learning through books is basically you can conserve your energy, and so conserving your energy and then reading on books and getting all the knowledge just sitting in a one room. This is something that is so much important as compared to you are just using your energy by traveling across the globe and learning through your experiences. But then again, there is a very you cannot compare traveling and books because there is a very what you can say there is a very different experiences through books and very different experiences through traveling. So traveling gives you a very good perspective about the world, about people living in that world, and books give you a little bit of historic perspective as to what happened previously, how you can foresee your future. So these are two very different things, and I personally believe one should take benefit from both.
And first you said about traveling, am I right?
So books are the first priority, and the second priority should be your traveling.
And if you want to travel, let's say put it in this way: if you want to travel to learn something about, let's say, public speaking, or anything regarding public speaking or debate skills, and you know all the languages. Language is not a barrier. Which country will you select, and why?
Specifically for public speaking, I personally feel US is the only country where you are having a different variety and different people and different culture and diversity coming across to learn more. So you have different competitions such as World Championship of Public Speaking over there. So you learn across.
Sometimes go to Singapore, so not necessarily always.
Not really Singapore, but a lot of competitions are in US, such as different states. Sometimes Chicago, Las Vegas. There are a few happens in
And
Singapore
what will be the
as well.
second country?
So second country would be the origin of public speaking. I haven't learned much about the origin of public speaking, but yes, I want to go to somewhere where the public speaking is actually started. I believe it's I think Europe, I believe. I'm not sure about it.
Europe is not a country.
Europe is a continent. I believe that there is a country where public speaking has been originated.
Well, there are some choices. For example, the origin. I believe. I mean, there are some countries that originated. You can say that there is one origin. I think Greece, since they had Plato,
So,
Socrates, and sometimes the Arab culture, they very put importance towards public speaking. Also, Oxford, they always conduct so many debates every year or every month. So that would be a great option
yeah,
as well.
Oxford
You
is
can
a
meet with
very
Mehdi Hasan,
Oxford is a very good option.
or
I
you can
think
team up with Mehdi Hasan, and
there are different debating conferences happening across Oxford, and
or USA would be Harvard maybe.
yeah, these can be options.
Or in USA you can even join Tony Robbins trainings. Since that's your idol initially, I don't know if it still fits in your idolization.
No, so obviously I've gone through different trainings and different platforms. So I personally feel that you need to have your own style, and there is one point when you have a lot of certifications and a lot of trophies under your belt, you develop your own style. So I don't consider Tony Robbins as my mentor right now, but yes, initially I was very much inspired, and he was actually an inspiration for a lot of youngsters, not only in Pakistan but all across the globe. So yeah, I was inspired by him.
By Tony Robbins.
Yep.
Okay, let's conclude. We have like in 10 to 15 minutes. So, what were your final thoughts regarding public speaking? And let's just recall what we have just gone through. And before that, just share your tips in bullet points. That what would be the first step for a rookie that wants to start developing his or her public speaking skills, and he wants to be distinguished just like you. So, what would be the tips that you would like to share? Let's have some bullet points.
Okay, so if I was the rookie, what I'll be doing differently that I previously did compared to right now, because now I have the knowledge. So the first things first, I try my level best to change my surroundings. So surroundings play a very bigger impact in your life. So let's say, for example, if there are 4 or 5 friends with you that you hang around all the time, they are not interested in public speaking, then you need to change your surroundings. You need to change your friends. You need to change your environment. Since a lot of people says that your surrounding determines who you are, and you become an average of 5 people that you hang out with. So you need to change your surroundings. You need to make sure that you need to go with those people who are interested in debating, who is interested in communication and public speaking skills, who are interested in leadership skills, who take initiatives. So you need to make sure that you come across those people, make friends with these people, and go with them. So first things first. The second is, as soon as you develop the passion to speak publicly, join some clubs such as Toastmasters, which is a very common club for public speaking and leadership and communication skills. You can go for debating conferences as well, such as Model United Nations, usually happening in universities and schools and colleges. You associate yourself with teachers that can give you more projects on public speaking and communication, so that you can perform more. So you need to execute a lot. So club or these sort of conferences and opportunities will give you time and give you space to execute your speaking. So you need to execute more so that you can become fluent in public speaking. So this is my second point, and the third point is practice. If you are not getting if you're not getting any platforms to execute your public speaking skills, then just stand in front of mirror and speak to yourself, and this can actually help you a lot. And I personally feel that myself, I've been benefited a lot by speaking in front of public, speaking in front of the mirror. So yeah, this is these are the 3 techniques that I prefer for any rookie that wants to learn more about communication and public speaking.
Okay, thank you. That was nice. We got final 10 minutes, and you have to fulfill that 10 minutes. So let's talk about your mentors. One of the mentors that you have mentioned.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
Or you would like to mention about anything about Toastmasters? Since you mentioned the word Toastmasters several times.
Yeah, so I usually have a mentor, and I think he's also your mentor, who is late Mr. Mazhar Jamil. And we have learned a lot from him. And initially, when we have joined, I remember the day when we were on the club. We were at the day of club of Express Toastmasters, and he welcomed us and he told us what it's meant to be a public speaker, how you can communicate well in front of the audience. Communication is not only about yourself, or it's about the others, but communication is a holistic performance of you in front of the audience. So a lot of lessons that we have learned so far. The English language, since it's not our mother language, it's not a primary language, you need to make sure that you develop a fluency in English so that people can learn from you, learn from your experiences. You come across a very sound and a very informative in front of your audience. So these are some of the tips and techniques that we have learned a lot from the late Dr. Mazhar Jamil.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you. So, what about Toastmasters?
Yeah, so I already discussed about Toastmasters. So Toastmasters is an international organization which is so much which is into public speaking and leadership skills. The origin of Toastmasters was from US. There was a guy named as Rolf C. Smedley who started Toastmasters back in 90s, and it is still ongoing, and now every year we have World Championship of Public Speaking. And I believe you can further elaborate your audience and what its impact on you, your image, your personality, and when you become a distinguished Toastmasters. So Akil, you yourself is a distinguished. You are also a distinguished Toastmaster. So can you elaborate much about what is your experience?
Okay, thank you. So, by the way, regarding Toastmasters, he says funny thing, man. Regarding Toastmasters,
Why you're laughing, Akil? What happened?
Okay, regarding Toastmasters, what would be your goal regarding Toastmasters? Like, what do you want to be? You want to be a world champion? Since you have already achieved one milestone, that is become distinguished Toastmaster. What would be next? That's the main question.
Well, yes, everyone wants to be a world champion, and one also aims to become a world champion. But as far as you are in Pakistan, it's a little bit unfortunate for us because we are still unrestricted and we are unable to become or participate in these sort of conferences.
Actually, we are districted now, but we are part of territorial council. So we have only 30 clubs, 31, 32 clubs. We need more than at least 30 more clubs so that we can be distinguished. Yes.
Yes, exactly. But in the end, I just wanted to say that you need to keep learning and keep growing. So let's say, for example, if you are not growing as far as your public speaking journey is concerned, then I think you need to change something. You need to come with more information, more knowledge. You need to keep yourself updated about what's happening in the public speaking arena, in communication skills and different platforms, so that you have a very sound and fluent public speaking by yourself. That's what I aim to.
And final thoughts regarding Toastmasters. Before that, let me give some information regarding Toastmasters milestones. Of course, one of the highest achievement you can get is becoming distinguished Toastmaster. But nowadays, since the pathway started, I think just let's not say it, but it's kind of a useless thing. Although I'm delivering the speeches from Pathway, but doesn't have the charm that the previous legacy program had. Of course, that's a challenge, but still, they give you the plug. It's the same plug. Also, if you want to pursue a career in public speaking, Toastmaster International provides a platform so that it can be accredited. That's the AS, Accredited Speaker Program, in which there are two levels. And if you qualify to the first one, you can go to the second one and then deliver some speeches. Of course, there are some requirements. You can search it on toastmasters.org. What are the requirements to become a to become an accredited speaker. However, these things that they provide, I think in the whole Asia, we have only one accredited speaker. That's from, I think, Dubai, maybe. But the rest of the world, they have only 70 to 80.
There is one more from India as well, I think.
Actually, recently, one from Asia became the accredited speaker this year. I don't know about the second one. I think India doesn't have. If they have, I won't be surprised. They have more than thousands of clubs. However, these are the things that Toastmasters International provides. Furthermore, there are World Champion of Public Speaking program in which every year they select the best speaker. However, there's some controversy as well. Let's say something like this. In order to participate in that program, you have to be a part of the Toastmasters. You have to be a Toastmaster yourself. And not only that, you have to finish at least maybe level 2 or 6 projects from CC so that you can qualify for that. Now let's consider this. World has 7.5 billion people, and from that only 200,000 people, 200,000 of them are Toastmasters. That's less than 1% of the whole world. So less than 1% of the world is having a program called World Champion of Public Speaking. So that's why it made it quite controversial. Since if you're talking about the world, for example, talk about football World Cup, that's a legit World Cup because more than 4 billion people are involved in that. But talking about World Champion of Public Speaking, how many people even heard about it? Although they have representations from many countries, more than 140 countries, however, it doesn't make it worldwide. And the speech qualities was quite controversial as well, since they don't usually practice the technique of public speaking. They just want to impress the judges. And that's why they designed the speech so that they can please the judges. Although it's not that good, however, it's still fine, and their winners are really legit. They're really good speakers. And that's why these are the platforms that Toastmasters International provides.
Do you know other public speaking platforms as well, where we have like world championship going on in public speaking or debating? Do you know some sort of
well, I haven't.
clubs?
There was some club. It was called Agora. It was not Toastmasters. It was something else. Or another.
Who Gora?
Agora.
Agora.
Yeah, it happens in Spain and some other European countries, and they want
Generally in Urdu, horse is called as Gora.
Agora.
Agora.
Yes, I think it starts with A. So
Russian word.
No. I think it's Spanish word.
Spanish word.
They had their meeting on Spain, and they want to start in Pakistan. But the fact is, I didn't join them since their manual is actually CC, Competent Communicators Manual. They're using Toastmasters Manual for their own sake, and they're having their own organization, and their structure are more or less the same. So I thought, why I bother myself?
There is nothing new.
Yeah, and I already distinguished in Toastmasters. Why should I start from scratch in Agora? Yeah, and they have nothing else to offer except that CC. So that's why I decided to stay at Toastmasters. However, my Toastmaster journey, I don't know what's gonna happen next, since when you run out of challenges on that time, you want to settle down and work on other stuffs, which I have so many plans. However, what about your own Toastmaster journey? Are you continuing, or you want to continue, or is there any? If you're not continuing, is there any reason behind that? If you want to continue, what are the reasons?
Okay, so I'll continue Toastmasters, but after some time, and I'll be part of different local clubs and just working around and going through all the speeches and helping other Toastmasters succeed their professional journey. So yes, I'll be joining maybe in 2021, quarter 1, quarter 2, most probably. But yes, I'm not making any aggressive target that I want to now achieve distinguished Toastmasters from pathways. But yes, I'll be joining to help other Toastmasters.
The way I looked at it is, I came here to develop myself in the first place. I came here to develop myself. Then, when I became a senior member, I started mentoring others. So I thought that, okay, it's not about me only, it's about others as well. So I decided to mentor others, and then I realized that after mentoring them, sometimes you can learn things, sometimes it keeps you back from delivering speeches. So it's kind of a dilemma, but I decided, okay, this time I'm gonna just focus on myself. If This is a platform that Toastmaster provides. If you want to learn, you can learn. If you don't want to learn, just want to spend some time, you can spend some time. However, it's totally up to the person. It's totally self-paced. So I really recommend everybody to join Toastmasters. However, Toastmaster just shows you the way. Don't rely on Toastmaster and Toastmaster meeting. If you want to develop your public speaking skills, there are many ways, such as creating a podcast or create your own videos and post it online and ask for feedbacks. But there are certain ways that you can achieve this by not just focusing on Toastmasters. So let's have the concluding remarks. So Danish, thanks for joining us. Just want to say anything else?
Yeah, thank you so much, Akil, for having me on the show. And I think this is very much important for all the rookies who wants to learn about communication and public speaking skills. And as Akil mentioned, that you don't need to rely on different platforms or different books, but you need to rely on yourself. And you need to constantly, if you want to learn that skill, you need to constantly achieve and thrive to get that skill. And I think this is very much important lesson, and I'm taking this lesson home with me.
Thank you, Danish, or DTM Danish. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for listening to all the listeners, or even Toastmasters maybe. Some of the Toastmasters may want to like to listen to my podcast. If you like this podcast, comment below and
Subscribe
and share and like. And I have only 4 subscribers. I want to increase it after this podcast. See you soon. Until the next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.